I think it's just right the way it happened for you and me talking on Mindset Monday a couple weeks ago, and
Yeah.
then us going again. So I'm excited about take two,
Yeah.
and also just part of the story of um, sort of like everything turns out just right,
Mm.
which is what a relief. What a relief for like feeling like we have to do everything right for good things to happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The allowing though is the hardest.
Say that again.
The
Allowing.
allow the allowing part is the hardest, right?
Yes. Well, it's going against a lot of training, I think,
Mm.
of for
Yeah.
me, I'll say, but I think it's kind of in the world of if you fuck this up, everything's ruined. uh,
Yes.
I mean, various ways to say that.
Yeah. Totally.
So let's see. I think let me tee up my side of the story of um, how it is that we're having a take two,
Yeah.
and then you can jump in with your side of the story, which I think is the real light of this moment too. Hello. Hmm. Um, so we had a Mindset Monday conversation a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was great. And I also thought I think I was really in my head about how I needed to do it better and different and a little bit. It's not wrong for me to like want to be better at it, but at least when I've done it, it really feels like it's gotten in the way of Mindset Mondays. I've had a couple of these where decided I needed to be more this or that. I mean, in some ways, I just want to be better, and that's me. But it's in some ways, I want to be almost like not like myself, which is what do we do with this, right? Like May wants to be better. It's a good thing, but May is the May of today. So I just told myself that I wanted to like deliver powerful questions. And that's a hope that I become that. And yet that voice in me showing up to our conversation did not help me be fully here. And I felt bad about it. I felt like, oh, bummer that didn't feel like to me the kind of energy of conversation that I have been having when I don't have things like
Yeah.
scraping at my brain. Um, and what I really was sad about is it felt like something like I didn't deliver an impact to
Mm.
you the way I had hoped because I was about myself in some ways, or I was in my own way.
Mhm.
And so I had said, how about we go again? And and you had said, um, actually, blah, blah, blah. I want you to tell your part of the story. And I was like, oh, so everything I just assumed about what just happened was not the whole story. Doesn't mean it was wrong, but it just wasn't the whole story. So now we get to hear your side of the story too, your experience.
Yeah, well, yeah, you had texted me, and then I was just like, oh, is like I've been thinking about texting you because after it was interesting hearing that you felt like didn't do it right, you didn't do a good job, and blah 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 blah, because yeah, I didn't experience that on this end, right? And that was never crossing my mind. And then it was like so a few days afterwards, I just noticed I was like, oh, like I have a shift in this. Like I don't have the resistance to it like I did. Like it was just like that. I was just like I saw like one of my patients and I was like, "Oh, you could like you're the kind of assistant I would want." And and then I just started to feel really good about it. It became not a thing that that was a burden, or not a thing that, um, that was heavy. It was a thing that, ooh, I was excited about. Like, this is going to be fun, and this is going to be exciting, and this is like going to be super relieving. And that was a complete shift for me, because I had been stuck in the like, how much more work it's going to be for me to have, um, and am I going to show up in the way that I want to show up, and all of those things that were kind of going through my mind. And so, and I think it was just, there's so much value in what you do, because you're having an outside perspective, like you're like, okay, I see this, and I'm just in my little tiny, this hole, right? And so just having, um,
The wonderful hole we were born in.
yeah, right.
Right? It's, but it
And
is, yeah.
yeah, and so, yeah, just having that outside perspective and having you ask me those questions, and really, just really got me started to be able to visualize and think about what I wanted it to look like, and what I wanted this person to look like, and all of those things. And it's not that I hadn't tried that before, um, but it was just super valuable having somebody having the kind of questions that you were asking, just had me like thinking in a much clearer and a different way. And so, yeah, so that's, and then, yeah, and then I
Thought I
started.
asked like all the wrong questions, or like I felt I was like blah 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 about the questions. So it's thank you. It's so crazy
Yeah.
because I'm in my hole. You're in your hole,
Yes.
right? Like, and this is all we have, and it's awesome and wonderful. And like I keep saying, it turns out everything we need is in there. But it's I've been saying like there are doors that we don't even see. We don't even see their doors until we see them.
Right. Sometimes it takes somebody else being like, there's an arrow right there. Like, maybe you should maybe just check out that door. Right. And that's enough, where you might have seen that door before, but it doesn't look the same as when somebody else is pointing it out. Right. So I think there's just like so much value in having another set of eyes on blockages, on all these things. Um, yeah. So I just think it's super valuable.
What a lesson. But what a lesson in real time. I mean, you and I texted, and I was like, oh, huh, but we didn't really get to talk much about it. So it's great to hear it and to have it kind of close the loop here on Instagram too.
Yeah, I
The
know.
story, and I just wanna like put a pin on it. Is like you saw for me what I couldn't see for me, and I can see for you what you couldn't see for you at that moment, right? Like just in that moment when we're talking, and you really, I think you said you had thought these things before. It's not like you, right?
Right.
It wasn't like, oh, I learned a thing. And I often think like, oh, I need to teach a thing that they never knew. And it's just not even just that. Just
Yeah.
sitting with you in the moment is some other thing that got you where you needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's again the unlearning. It's much more available, like right at our fingertips. It was so simple. I mean, it was so simple for me to just sit with you. And
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think we like, it's really easy to be like, oh, the things that, because they're, it's very visible from the outside. What stuff, it's much more visible, I should say. It's not very visible, but it's much more visible. And we think that the other person knows that stuff, or we think that the other person like can see those things. So we take for granted, like, our position, I think, and the value that it has.
yeah, Yeah, well, that's some of the hypnosis, self-hypnosis stuff that we talk about, right? That is like, there are voices that have been talking for a long time, and it takes some time to unthink our thoughts that are
Mm-hmm.
not helping us. Um, so, but it's way easier because I haven't been thinking your thoughts for all these years, and
Right.
you haven't been
There's
thinking my thoughts all these years. So,
a different bag of worms, and I have a different set of worms. Yeah.
different set of worms. Ew, ew. Uh,
Yeah.
but different set of gifts, set of light, set of
Mm-hmm.
magic tricks in the bag. So so just to sort of recap, I think uh what would we say, you the thing that your challenge at the time originally was about expanding staff, team.
Yeah. And kind of stepping into that place of, you know, allowing having, you know, somebody else assist me in my business kind of thing. And stepping into that role of else and, um,
Mm.
that that was a difficult shift for me, for whatever reason. But well, and since the thing, I think I was telling you this too, today, but um, I started with a transitional assistant. One of my friends is helping do stuff, 3 or 4 months, and it's just been like mind blowing. To I was just like, why have I not done this before? Um, just so good. It's the same thing. It's having somebody else have a set of eyes on stuff that you
Mm-hmm.
on for years, and you can't see what you can't see. Um, and so there's just so much value in having other people looking at your stuff, whether it's your blockages or whether it's your business or whether it's anything, because they can see different things, you know.
I just got this sense again, like the old programming for me, and I don't know if it's for you too, is um, like not only are you allowed to have a team, it was always meant to be this way. It was
Mm-hmm.
always meant for your friend, your transitional person, to unlock exactly what they were there to unlock for
Yeah.
you, and then it's another person, and then it's another person. But like everybody, I can imagine your friend being like so lit up by how much their simple thing is lighting you up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but like we tell a story that's like, oh, I don't want to make someone else do this thing that I don't want to do. Or I don't know what your story, I mean, a common story is I feel guilty or bad about asking someone else to work for me and me be a leader and have that relationship. And it's not that there isn't anything to work out about it, but really most of us are not showing up to be jerk bosses. We're just showing up because we need help, right? And and then the person is like, really? That's all you need? That's
Yeah.
so easy. I can do that. Right?
Yeah.
Like it gets, and they're like involved.
Yes. Right. And they're like, yeah, you know, just like it was easy for you to be doing, you know, did in the last, you know, the last live, but and I'm, oh, that's all it took was just me like shifting that, you know, just
Yeah.
yeah.
The other thing that I see is something like there's value in bootstrapping and handling more, or
Mm.
needing help is some kind of weakness. And I don't know if that was playing for you.
Yeah, the weakness thing not as much, not, but I think it was more the it's more the it's a little bit of the vulnerability that comes with uh, asking for, whether it is somebody you're paying or not. But it's the vulnerability of like, hey, this is where I'm at, and I don't know if I did this right, and do you have any idea about it? But it's sort of the like, it's the admittance that like maybe you didn't, maybe you don't know the answer to it. Um,
Mm,
mhm.
right.
Yeah,
So you've been able to walk through that with your friend who's helping right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that,
And obviously, it's much easier with my friend because it's somebody I know and somebody I trust and somebody who knows me. Um, but I think there's a little bit of that piece. Are they that I didn't know how to do X, Y, all that stuff. Um,
mm, they're gonna find out that you're not superhuman.
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I had to give
so,
that up.
yeah. And it's kind of a shitty burden too. It's like a relief to put down, isn't it?
Yes.
You're like, oh, really? Do I have to give it up? And then you're like, oh, but it's really heavy. So then it makes me smile because especially that person who is your friend, like that means they had exactly the special power that you needed to get you through this stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone you trust and know loves you and is going to be like, oh, Marie's not perfect. She doesn't
Yeah.
have all the answers exactly right as soon as she gets out the gate.
Yeah. She already knows I'm not perfect. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I think
So,
that was a little piece of it for me. Um, yeah.
and then whenever she has to move, your friend has to move on, maybe you have more, like, it's safe to
Hmm.
trust what I have and right where I am.
Yeah.
But isn't that a thing? That's a growth all by itself.
It's a growth. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It feels so much lighter. It feels so
Good.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for unpacking that. It is really exciting. I'm working on um, this little mini course training I'm offering in a couple of weeks, and it is all about these outward actions, business actions that sort of seem like I should really take this, and I don't know why I'm not taking it. And then it turns out it's a lot of these kinds of like I don't really like what you just came to. Super powerful is I feel vulnerable admitting that don't that I might have not done this well, just right, or whatever, optimally.
Hmm.
Really high bar, right? We put on ourselves.
Yes.
And that's the thing I'm trying to talk to in this mini course a little bit is like I know you're super smart. I know you're super capable. And for whatever, let's like excavate a little bit about what's holding you back, even though you know everything you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So, and it's
That's
all of
cool.
us. It's all
Hmm.
of us, right? It's not me again. Like, oh, it turns out there's vulnerability for me too, right? It turns out May is right in it, like
Yeah.
experiencing it moment by moment. And I hope that's what is clear here, right?